No.
Come on, this is the only program I want to listen to in a day.
Runners, look at this.
This is Keen from London, Ontario, with a new song called Two Wrongs. It's from his third album, which is out now, called Quiet Talker. It's 11 minutes to 6 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, December 3rd. This is On the Island on CBC Radio 1.
What about the, in there?
No, right here.
What about the, on the other side? Can I use this on the other
No,
side?
I'm back there. No.
Lawrence Bay Ferry by Highway 17.
Hi.
Good morning. And where to today?
I'm going to Vancouver.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Great. Where do I sit?
Downstairs, please.
All right. Thank you.
And good morning.
Okay, so the next thing is the boat.
In the event of an emergency, they'll be your guides. You'll need to stop what you're doing and follow their directions. They'll guide you to the emergency assembly areas and to the life jackets located on decks 5 and 6.
So you've done a heck of a lot since I saw you last, Holly. Where was it last? In Victoria, in the summer.
That was in June.
Wow.
Yeah. Seems like just a month
And
ago.
since then, you've been to Las Cruces and ran 50K.
And yeah, that was and I went to Quebec City. And
That's when we almost got to meet each other last.
Yep, through that. Yep, that was
Alan sends his best wishes.
Well, I've got Toronto on my list for next year because it'll tie in with the 50K in Michigan. So we'll get to.
Well, another
next year.
time we'll come down and see you in Oregon, that's for sure. I know I have no trouble crossing into the U.S. now.
You're all.
My documentation is in order.
Oh, that's good.
So you're the main driver, Larry?
I am the chauffeur and
The dog walker,
dog walker.
cheerleader,
Yep.
official photographer.
The travel coordinator.
Oh, wow. You're the guy who does that?
Yep. Yep. All I do is run.
Yes, I was just thinking, you must be up to double digits now. 10 marathons?
Seattle was the 11th marathon for this year,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's the 12 big run if you include the 50K.
Yeah.
So-
How was the 50K?
It was fun. I mean, I didn't think
It was loops, right?
2.2 miles.
Oh, dear.
I thought I would go insane with 2.2 mile loop.
Was it always in the same direction, or did you alternate?
It was you go out a mile, back a mile, and then point 1 and point 1. So it all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it all kept coming back to a central point where they had an enormous aid station with all kinds of food and a canopy, and then they had a big table where you could leave your bag.
How many people would you say?
Oh, not very many.
20 or more?
Well, but there was a lot of different races, though.
Yeah.
There was 5K up
All the way up.
Yeah.
So everybody did the same loop.
Yes, yeah.
Depending on whether you're doing a 6-hour or a...
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was a 4-day event.
Was it well organized?
Yeah.
Not that it's difficult to organize an event like that.
Yeah, but they did a very nice job. Very
It's in a compact area, so they don't have really a lot of. You don't have to close off streets.
Comes
or
a fast
anything.
runner
We're in a
behind
park.
us.
Yeah.
Yep. He's certainly pounding the pavement, that guy.
Yep.
God, he's probably half my age. Or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But last time you were heading back to Oregon, that's right, when I saw you in Victoria.
Right.
So you drove back from Port Angeles and got the Edmonds ferry or whatever?
We just drove from Port Angeles. We drove down. We didn't take any more ferries after that.
Okay, you wouldn't have to. You were on the peninsula.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're on the mainland.
Yeah. And
If you wanted to go into Seattle, you'd have to
then, right.
Okay, because my son is visiting from Kirkland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He works at Google, right? I ran right by his place of employment.
Really? Yeah, I've been there a couple of times to visit him. And he seems to be working pretty well there. It's stimulating for him in a nerdy kind of way.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And he's really sharpened his game. I mean, now that he is focused on his job and his career, he's gone up another level or two in terms of terminology, the way he talks shop. And he's got a very, very logical mind for things like that. But anything else, I wouldn't trust him to make me a sandwich. I tell you, he'd probably cut his hand.
My cousin's husband works for Microsoft.
Okay, so that's pretty close. That's in the area.
They brought him.
Redmont or something?
I don't know.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it would be in that area.
Did they headhunt him?
Yeah.
Yep, my son was the same. They had a recruiter.
Brought him from England.
Well, they brought this guy. They brought my son from Victoria to the. It's not the main office, but it's close. The main office, I think there is one in Seattle as well.
Okay.
But his one is in the Kirkland facility.
But extreme. I wouldn't trust him doing anything.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't.
But in terms of his field, he's probably right up there at the top.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he had retired with a barrel of money at one point. But I remember they had moved back to England at one point, and Microsoft got a hold of him and offered to pay his expenses and something like $300,000
just to get him back
for the weekend.
Really? This is the famous Seawall where they do quite a lot of running here in Vancouver.
This is the marathon route.
Did you ever do the Vancouver Marathon?
Yes, I did the same year as I did Victoria.
Okay, so you did both of them. You hit both marathons. Are they in the same time of the year or?
No.
No.
Victoria's October, Vancouver's May. Yeah. So it was a very nice split.
That's right. If you ever wanted to do another 50K, Holly, you should do the Elk Beaver one. I think I might have mentioned it to you. It's 10 kilometers around a very scenic lake.
Oh.
The course is flat and it's gravel.
Oh, wow.
It's basically either dirt or gravel.
Okay.
And it's a 10K loop, so like in Las Cruces, you could leave your fuel and your food in one spot.
Yeah.
And Larry can ask you if you need anything. And it's not going to be quite as often. With 2.5, what was it, a 2-mile loop?
2.2, yeah. Oh. Yeah, that
At least you got 6 miles before you see her again.
Yeah.
She goes around one more time, and then each time you say how you're doing. And
well, what I liked about the 2.2 is that each time you go around, you collect a rubber band.
Okay.
And that anytime you get 5 rubber bands, you trade them out and get an orange rubber band. So I needed 2 orange and four white rubber bands to finish.
Well, I would have spent the entire day thinking about now how many rubber bands, what colors do I need?
I liked it because I didn't look at my watch the whole day. I was just like, okay, one more rubber band coming up, and that was. He called because they went back to the hotel. They were bored sitting there for a while. And he called and said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I've got 10 rubber bands."
So that means you're 20 kilometers in or 20 miles in.
He said, no, I want to know what mile you're at.
I want to know a mile. I don't need to know rubber bands.
Rubber bands. That's a new measurement of distance, of the rubber band, the official. Yeah, well, this certainly is better weather than we all expected.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
So
And
this is a lot better.
Today was supposed to start raining.
It was going to be raining all day as far as what we saw on the internet. And
Yeah.
so I woke up and really.
Is this the first time that Grace has been out today?
No.
She was out earlier.
She's a girl of habits.
Oh, yeah.
She has to get up first thing, go
Yep.
for a little walk.
Yep. She's the alarm clock.
Well, I guess traveling with a dog, you have to be conscious of all those things
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how you got here. How did you get from where were you last? You were doing the Yellowstone or Yosemite or something? You're doing it everywhere.
Yeah, we were home for a couple of weeks.
Okay,
Then
yeah.
we were gone for 6 weeks, home for a couple of weeks, and then we came up here.
That's right.
So,
Have you been doing all this road trips in the same vehicle?
yeah.
Not the Winnebago.
Yeah.
The Toyota Bagel.
The Toyota Bagel.
Toyota Bagel, yeah. Yep.
That's an in-joke with us, the Winnebago.
Yep.
One day you're going to say, guess what, Carlos? We got a Winnebago. We got 2 electric bikes and a satellite
Yep.
dish.
Ready to go.
We're all ready now.
Yeah.
Where do we go? Yeah, it's a shame we didn't hook up in Niagara, but
Yeah.
when you look at the distances, and with a lake, you can't just say, well, it's not very far. You have to go all the way around
Yeah.
to get to the other,
Yeah.
Yep.
St. Catherine's. You were in St. Catherine's.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Probably would have been quicker to run there.
Probably.
Anyway. Well, Alan was having his hospital
Yeah.
treatments every couple of days. I went in a few times with him.
And how is he doing now?
I think he's fine. He's got the genes. He's definitely got the Celtic genes.
Yep.
Part Scottish, part Viking, I think he is. Anyway. I heard somebody behind us. I
Yeah.
thought maybe there's a fast runner closing in on us, but it's not
The
that.
fast walk.
It's a fast walker. Tell me how your recovery's going.
Well, my feet and ankles still hurt.
You said you thought it might be a shoe issue.
Well-
because of the different socks and a blister.
Yeah, I usually take a pair of shoes and I'll wear them for 2, maybe 3 marathons, and then they go into the training shoe.
Yeah,
Shelf.
or the gardening shelf.
It's
the gardening
just
shoes.
I usually don't take any chances. I retire them before I think they need to, before I get any clues that they're wearing out. I just do it early. This one I thought, I haven't worn them that much. This was the 4th marathon in that pair of shoes.
Oh dear.
And because it was supposed to be very cold,
You had extra socks?
I wore a pair of wool, and they're running socks, but
Yeah.
I don't like to run in them.
Okay.
And I got a blister early on.
That's not good.
So I spent the whole day thinking, I wonder if it's getting really bad in there. It feels really bad.
Yeah, well, sometimes you don't want to look.
That's
If
exactly
you take your shoe off, you're going to spook yourself. Until you take your shoe off, it's just an annoying pain on some
Yeah.
part of your foot.
Yeah.
But when you take your shoe off and see the blood in the sock,
Yeah, then you...
that puts
Just a
me
pain,
off.
And there's some squishy in there,
Yeah.
but it's probably nothing.
But it's not infected or anything.
No, it's actually doing very well. I
Good.
let it go overnight, and then the next day I stuck the pin in it. I have this stuff called
Moleskin?
Blister Magic,
Blister.
and it's some kind of a really thick nut oil
Okay.
that I don't even recognize the name, and it has a little bit of tea tree oil in it.
That's good.
And every time
That's
I've
supposed
used
to be good for the skin.
I've used that. Right now, you can't even tell that there was ever a blister there.
Touch wood, as I touch my head. I've had very few issues with blisters in many years of running.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because I buy the shoe slightly larger than my street shoe size.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go up by half a size.
Yeah. That's.
I take a 9 if it was a dress shoe, but for a running shoe, I'd always buy a 9.5.
Yeah.
Give my feet a bit of room to move.
I've had very few blisters, and every time I've had one, it's because I've worn different socks than I'm used to.
Okay. You've obviously got to find a pair of socks that work in all your shoes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, these were one of the first blisters that I got was a few years ago when I got these.
Uh-huh.
They're big. I think Saucony only made one run of these.
Okay.
But I like them for this weather because they're the most waterproof or water resistant shoes that I have. They're not waterproof, but every other pair of Sauconys I have are so ventilated that water just flows in
They're like a
and flows
sponge.
out. Yes.
But they do dry off quicker. That's another thing about draining shoes.
Yes.
They get wet quick, but then they dry off quick.
Yeah.
The other thing about the shoe is if it's well made, you should be able to get quite a few months of service out of it. But where we live, you and as well as me, we get a lot of rain in the winter, so it's worth having a few pairs spare because you're never going to have a dry pair every day.
Right.
If you just use the same shoe every day, it's always going to be wet. And then you get other issues with your feet.
Yeah. So I do rotate what I wear. Just
How many pairs, out of interest, do you have on the go that you could run in if you had to?
I could run. I've got now with these from Sunday. Those have gone into the training. Now I've got 2 pair that I can run regular in, and I've got a pair of ready-to-go marathon shoes and one that should have just arrived in the mail while we were gone. So I've got 2 marathon pairs, and I'm waiting for the Kinvara 10 to start going on sale, and I'll get a few more.
And are those all road shoes? Or
Yeah.
do you ever buy any trail shoes? Or
I
you
do.
trail running?
I have a pair of Peregrines from 2 years ago.
I bought a pair of those just the other day.
Do you like them?
I've tried them on slippery conditions. That's why I bought them for running on Mount Doug, and they've been very, very good. But I noticed that the sole is quite hard. It's not a soft sole like these ones.
Yeah.
It's got more little pointy bits on it.
Okay.
I mean, whereas you've got some shoes that are like flat, like a frog's foot with sort of suction pads on it. This one has like little pyramids.
Yeah.
It's more angular.
Yeah.
And I believe that would probably work well on soft snow or maybe, mossy surfaces, something that they could dig into.
Yeah.
Is that something you can see online when you're looking at shoes?
Yeah.
I always look at the sole. I always look at the sole. Normally you get a chance to rotate the image.
But you can look under?
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because I need to replace the Peregrines I have, and I've heard that the more recent model has a better fit. The shoe part, the top part, fits better than what I've got. Mine are a little bit too loose.
Okay.
They're cut a little too loose, and they're not. Saucony has a new fabric or whatever they're using, so the shoes fit without being tight. They fit more.
They're more stretchy.
Yeah, they conform to your foot rather than like these are very stiff. They don't conform to the foot. So that is on my list because I have a couple of trail 50Ks for next year already in mind.
Okay.
When is the one? What time
May.
of year?
It's the same time as Vancouver.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Are you a marathon maniac?
I am not because I don't
Not
see
officially.
I don't see the point of paying for a membership. I could put that money toward a.
You could put it towards the next pair of shoes or
Yes,
something.
exactly.
But there was quite a strong contingent of marathon maniacs in Vancouver. And what they used to do is they used to do the Elk Beaver on Saturday and then do the Vancouver Marathon on Sunday because if you did a marathon and an ultra marathon, as a marathon maniac, you get like bonus points.
Yes.
You get like triple star bonus for that one.
Yeah.
So it was always the same weekend as the elk beaver.
Okay.
But then I thought, well, either you're going to dissuade people from doing both,
right.
or you're going to have people saying, no, I'm going to do the marathon, not the ultra this year.
Right.
So I thought, well, if we do it a week apart, then they could do both. They could do the ultra on 1 week, and the next weekend they do the marathon.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get quite as many points from the marathon maniacs.
Yeah.
But what are those points worth?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's what we keep.
It's bragging rights.
Keep looking at
nobody is concerned about your bragging rights.
we keep looking at the marathon maniacs. It's like, okay, well, what value is this? And it's like, well,
it's just to
you can
show
get a
that you
t-shirt.
have some dedication to your sport. But most of them, the marathon maniacs, are like us. They will scale back the effort with an idea of finishing with a smile.
Yeah.
Rather than push it and then say, that's it, no more marathons this year. We'd rather do a bit more regular, using the marathon as a destination like you do. You make your destinations based around your marathons.
That's right.
Yeah. So are you planning to do any European marathons? I guess with Grace
we're
still
kind of
in the picture, you don't really want to...
we're limited kind of to what we can...
We even kicked around Newfoundland.
You're thinking of it?
That's a rough...
This is a huge obstacle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Having a dog.
It's like, what is it?
Not her in particular.
No.
Right.
She seems quite well mannered, this
something
one.
like an 8-hour ferry.
Really?
Or more.
Yeah.
So the dog would go
and you
nuts.
can't have the dog with you. They have to be down in the car.
Oh.
You have to leave the dog in the car, and you can't visit the car.
Well, it's like solitary confinement for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or she gets put in a kennel, and she's never been in a kennel. And I thought, well, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So we can't figure out, unless there are a private party that would take you across.
A private boat, that's true. You could almost...
I mean, it's not that far.
No, I'm not sure. I've never been on that part of the Canadian coast. When I came originally, it was straight into Montreal.
Oh, okay.
And then after 17 years in Montreal, we came out west.
Okay.
Yeah. See, we've been to Nova Scotia, and haven't been to Newfoundland.
No. But you obviously like traveling in the car. You do a lot of road trips.
Yeah.
As part of your retirement plan.
Yeah.
Well, she's a great traveler, which helped out. We've always had dogs.
Grace, she's a good traveler.
And air travel has gotten
miserable.
So miserable.
Yeah.
The last time we went, it was horrible. So we decided,
might as well just drive.
We might as well just drive, and she's fine driving, so let's go.
But do you ever share the driving with Larry? Or?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When there's some sort of mindless section of highway,
yeah,
he says, you can drive.
We try to switch off every hour.
Yeah.
That gives us makes us stop, so we get out and move around.
Morning.
She gets out and moves around, change drivers.
It's weird me being here in Vancouver. This is like, it's almost like being on holiday for me.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, you travel so much, but me, I'm like, if I'm not 6 miles from my bed, there's something very strange at any time of the year. Occasionally we go away. And actually this winter we're going to go to Uruguay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That
we're going to
sounds
Montevideo.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
It's one of those places I've always been interested in visiting.
Yeah.
And it's just across from Argentina. You got the River Plate, and there's a massive great estuary that comes in, cuts the bottom part of South America. There's Brazil that bulges out, and then underneath you've got the River Plate, and Uruguay is here, and Argentina goes down that way, and Chile goes down that way.
Oh, okay.
So it's the top part of the thin bit, and it's where the Brazil tucks into the rest of Argentina. But it's fascinating. I'm curious to see the indigenous people of that part of South America.
Yeah. How long will you be there?
Probably a month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Once we get somewhere, we don't rent a car. We stay put, and then we plan our outings around where we are. We look at the internet for places of interest, and as long as there's something like this, most cities would have a park or a promenade or boulevard. I don't need an event. I can just run along and do my thing.
Thank you.
Everybody's so friendly today. I guess they're glad it's not raining.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably very happy.
This is the famous Stanley Park, isn't
This
it?
is and there's all kinds of side, you can go
Trails.
you can go up and go into, there's an aquarium in there and all kinds of different things. It's a 6-mile loop around.
Yep.
But there's ways to cut in,
So
and there's
that
some
would
trails
be
in there.
10 kilometers.
Yeah. Yep. This is the final 10K of the marathon. You loop around
right.
Stanley Park and end up.
And end up back in town on Burrard Street or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you probably know Vancouver about as well as I do. You've been here a couple of times.
Yeah. This time we didn't plan on it being rainy the whole time, but we were going to walk out to, what is that called? Grantsville? Or what?
Oh, Granville Island.
Yeah, we were going
Granville Island.
to walk out there.
Yeah. I'm always amazed how clean the water is. Even with all these massive ocean liners,
Yeah.
it's pretty clean. I mean, obviously it's salt water. You wouldn't want to drink it, but
Yeah.
you could see that fish would live quite happily in there. Doesn't look terribly polluted. Are you living on the water where you are in Oregon?
About a mile, directly from where we are, the road.
What would be the biggest town? Portland? To where you live?
The biggest town would be Eugene.
Eugene.
But Portland's a big town. I mean, compared to.
Yeah, Eugene is like Victoria in size, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe a little smaller.
Probably smaller.
Yeah. But I often see these ships waiting off the coast in Victoria, waiting to unload.
Yeah.
Oh.
Probably the same shipping line. I don't recognize the actual vessels. So how about lunch? Where do you think we should go? Back to the hotel?
Well, that seems the best option because they said, we asked at the front desk and they said just let them know where we'll be, and she can just stay in the room.
Okay.
So
if they need to,
Yeah.
if the other residents are saying there's a dog barking in 328 or whatever,
she'll probably just go to sleep. She usually just.
it's such a great novelty for me to have a cell phone and actually using it as a phone. No, in a way, I was on the SkyTrain. I thought, shoot, which station do I have to get off at? Do I go all the way to Bridgeport? So I thought, phone up Norma.
Oh,
Norma, I'm on the SkyTrain. It was like, oh wow, he's speaking from a train. I was going through a tunnel as well. It still worked. I said, Norma, where do I get off? Another Harbour Air flight in from Victoria.
yeah.
So, when is your next event?
I have 2 in February.
Okay.
So I have a little bit of time off to get reorganized. But I'm going to Rock and Roll New Orleans the first, I think it's the first weekend of February. Then from there we're going over to Phoenix for the Lost Dutchman Marathon in Phoenix.
Javelina, that's in Fountain Hills, Arizona.
Yeah.
And they have a policy whereby they put, if you enter the race and don't finish, if you re-enter the race the following year, they give you 1 skull and crossbones on your bib number.
Oh!
So you can see how many times they've tried and failed.
Oh!
Well, it's kind of a humorous way of saying, oh yeah, maybe this year you're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They keep a little skull and crossbones record on your bib.
Well, I like that Javelina 100 because they have smaller races, so you can kind of work your way up
Yeah.
to the 100.
And they used to honor, if you entered the 100 mile, if you didn't manage to finish the 100 mile, they give you a buckle for 100K, which is pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah.
What I did when I was race director was I would say, if for any reason you can't race the year this year, we'll give you a rain check for next year only, not an open-ended rain check.
Right.
So they could come back the following year and not feel that I took their entry fee and didn't give them a chance to run, because a lot of things can go wrong in ultramarathon training.
Yeah.
It's not something that you could say, I'm going to train for an ultra and do it 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
You have to be training for months.
Yeah.
And what's to say you're not going to get injured in training and then not be able to compete?
Right.
So that's why I would offer the rain check.
Yeah. And I think it's better to take advantage of the rain check than to push yourself to run when you're injured or not. I mean,
I had a girl that she registered 1 year, she couldn't do it, so she came back the next year, and she ended up winning the walk.
Oh.
Yeah, because in the ultra, in that particular one, the Elk Lake Ultra, there's a 40K walk, there's a 50K run, there's a 50-mile run, and there's a 100K run.
Oh.
But the thing about the walk is, because it's a competitive event and because it's unsupervised, I would say to the competitors, you're going to be monitoring each other.
Oh,
so nobody can run when no one's looking, kind of thing.
Okay.
And I said it in front of all the other racers. I say, if you see these guys running, let me know.
Yeah.
Because they are entered in the walk.
Okay.
But most years there would be like 2 or 3 people entered in the 40K walk.
Yeah.
So they would probably spend the entire morning, like you and your big girlfriend, chatting and getting it done.
Yep.
And that's what they were doing. They would say, okay, well, let's see if we can keep each other going. And they would walk as fast as they could and not break into a run because they would know that the other girl was watching them.
Now, I know I probably do better when I go by myself.
Yeah.
I just monitor things better, and I just.
But sometimes you can't help it. If you end up running next to somebody for more than 40 minutes,
and it's always
rude not to say hi to them.
Yeah, and it's always more fun to have someone to talk to and to just swap stories with and to just.
But you know, all these random people that you end up running with.
Yes.
I mean, you must say, well, if I'm ever in Arizona, at least I know that girl. She was from there.
Yes, right.
You might bump into her again.
And it is nice to run with someone and then be able to connect with them at a later date at another race because you say, oh yeah, we both want to go to that one.
It's a bit like the social media connections. You say, how many Facebook friends do I really need?
Yeah.
And you think, well, 300, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, you do.
And then you think, well, there's people who've got 1,200 Facebook friends.
Yeah.
They must be bombarded with stuff constantly.
I tend to shy away from when I see somebody that's got thousands of friends. It's like, you don't have friends, you've got followers.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'm not really interested in followers.
No, and it's nice if you can actually, like we do once in a blue moon, we do get to meet each other in real life.
Yeah.
Even though we connect virtually every day.
Yeah.
It's
well,
like
I have
Alan and me and you
one
and
friend
Alan
specifically from a slow runners group.
Yeah.
She lives in the Kitchener area.
In Waterloo, Kitchener, Ontario?
Yeah, exactly. And we have, last year when we were out, she came out and met us for dinner.
Oh.
And she was going to go to Niagara Falls, but ended up unable to. But she's going to run Banff Marathon with me this summer.
Good.
So we're strictly through Facebook, but she's gone out of her way to make sure we've met in real life
next time you're on Canadian soil, maybe we could get the big get-together. Alan, you, me, Larry, Rosie, Gracie. I keep calling her Rosie.
She'll probably answer to that as well as she does to Gracie.
One of my friends had a dog called Rosie, and it was very much like Gracie. Same kind of size, same kind of breed. Well, it's been a good visit so far, and the weather has cooperated for us.
So glad.
Now my stomach is rumbling. I'm going to need to get some food in me. It's a little bit early for lunch, but I don't know about you guys. There's always that brunch time of day, like now, when you missed your breakfast and you're still hungry, or you are hungry.
And when we travel, it's more of what we feel like. We don't watch the clock as much as, are we hungry now?
I know that there's a 3 o'clock ferry that I could get, and there's a 5 o'clock ferry, so it's not a problem going back. Coming here, if you miss the 7 o'clock, you have to get the 9 o'clock, which means you don't get here till after 12, which means everything gets compressed so much more. It's almost worth the trouble getting up early and waking up in Vancouver instead of arriving here at 12:30 and thinking everybody's bustling around looking for somewhere to go.
That's what we had going to you last time.
Yeah.
Because we had to get up and make sure we got out on the early ferry. Otherwise,
by the time you get anywhere, you've lost the half the day.
Yeah.
But we've managed to get a walk in, a talk in.
Yeah.
Grace has had her little walk, haven't we, Gracie?
She'll be ready for her nap.
She'll be ready for her nap. Yeah. So you leave tomorrow morning, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you're heading straight back to Oregon.
Yeah, we're going to make a side trip to visit his cousin in the north part of Oregon, and then we'll get home the next day.
Where is Grants Pass? Is that anywhere near you guys?
It's farther. It's
more inland.
Almost to the California border.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's farther south.
Because I have a friend I might visit down that way, but it's nice to be able to group more than one person.
Yeah.
Like if I went to Oregon, I would see you, I would see Dan. I think there's another friend of mine who lives that part of the world. My son, of course, he lives on the way back. I could pull in Kirkland and see him there.
Yeah.
Well, if you were traveling down the 5.
The I-5. Well, I wouldn't be driving. I would be on public transport, and I would probably take the Clipper to Seattle, and then find my way from Seattle to your part of the world, Oregon, and that would be what, Greyhound or train or...
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
Well, you drive everywhere. That's the thing. Drive, he said.
But Grants Pass is on the 5.
It's on the 5.
And we're often on the 5.
Eugene. Eugene is on the 5, and
Eugene is straight out from us on the 5.
Okay.
I go to Eugene often, 3 or 4 times a week.
Well, the other thing would be to convince Norma to come down with me, because she's the driver in our family.
Yeah.
Then we could drive down and have all access to all those drivable places.
There you go.
Have you seen how they stacked the logs here?
Yeah.
Anyway. So we're pretty much heading back towards the hotel now.
Yes.
And we're going to check out the menu or whatever.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to eat somewhere else. It's not terribly unpleasant outdoors. It's nice.
I think it'll be more comfortable.
All right.
There. Yeah. I know I took her out at 10 o'clock last night, and there were people sitting outside on the sidewalks at a couple of places on Denman.
Yeah.
It was raining. They're braver than I am.
Well, Norma said to me, she said, I don't think the Sylvia is the sort of place that you really have to dress up. They don't have a dress code there.
No.
Like most of BC, it's
casual,
BC casual. And Victoria's even one stage more casual than that. You can go into the Empress Hotel in your running gear.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye to them while the going is good. So from Holly and Larry and Gracie and me, this is us saying bye-bye from Vancouver, BC. Bye-bye.